Well, the mayor's race is certainly heating up, and so is the race for the presidency. Political analyst John Dadian is here with a look at both. John, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Good morning.
Certainly do appreciate it. Let's talk about the one-year anniversary of the death of Osama bin Laden. Has Romney and Obama now exchanging jabs? What's going on here?
Well, first of all, you know, I can see both points of view because it's absolutely appropriate for President Obama to bring up this issue because he's up for re-election. It's something that he accomplished. And let me tell you, speaking of somebody with the military background, he's a commander-in-chief. I think it was a very bold move. He's got to get complete credit for it. However, he should have taken the high road, and I think he blew it, and his campaign blew it by speculating what Romney would have done.
Or would not have done.
Would not have done. The backlash has been just tremendous, and I think appropriately so.
Because he suggested that Romney would not have okayed the raid on the Pakistani compound where bin Laden was living. But Romney's come out and said, I never said that.
Well, and there's cheap shots on both sides. Then Romney responds, even Jimmy Carter would have approved it. And I don't agree with that. I think it was a tough call on the president. I think he absolutely deserves credit on it. But then again, you should never speculate that somebody else should have done. And
Romney's saying that, President Obama, you're politicizing the national security. So he's coming back with that response.
And they are politicizing it. Again, when they took that second step, it absolutely would not have been politicizing it if they would have said, you elected me in 2008, and this is what I've done. The biggest thing is, absolutely, they got this bad guy after 10 years.
Let's talk about Romney's VP seat. Who could possibly take this? New Jersey Governor Chris Christie recently told a classroom of children that he would be open to conversations about it. That's interesting.
The list is still longer than my arm as far as I've counted up to 17 people that are credible, not just 17 possibles, but 17 very possible candidates. The top three clearly are Chris Christie from New Jersey, favorite of conservatives. You know, it's got a lot going for him, et cetera. He was singled out at the National Broadcasting Dinner the other day, so that's always a sign that you're in the loop. Marco Rubio, the other main one. What's interesting with these two is 3 months ago, both of them said, absolutely not, I would not take it, and now it almost looks like they're courting that.
Well, maybe we would. Yeah, that's interesting how that comes around full circle.
And the third one, which I think would take it if the president offered it, and that would be Jeb Bush, former governor of Florida. You know, again, favorite of conservatives, kind of bridges with Romney on the immigration issues, et cetera, and represents Florida.
That's interesting. Okay, so we'll see what happens on that front. Going to the local mayoral race. What's happening now? Because we're seeing the candidates get closer and closer to that June 5th primary date. They're starting to push mailers into the mail. More commercials are appearing on television.
That's exactly right. You and I talked a couple of weeks ago that I predicted exactly at this time is when you will see even Bonnie DeMontis is going to start going on TV. So now the major candidates are going on TV. A lot of mailers are hitting, and a lot of mailers by independent expenditures are hitting. And again, to remind our viewers, these are mailers that the campaigns themselves supposedly don't have knowledge of.
Yes.
That just some of their supporters have created a separate committee.
And one of those cases got a little bit interesting and maybe embarrassing for one group recently. What happened?
There actually was a major mailer that had the name of their opponent candidate misspelled. And that's, you know, I've done direct mail.
Nathan Fletcher's name was misspelled.
It was Nathan Fletcher. So I've handled direct mail in previous campaigns, et cetera. You have 10 different people proofreading and vetting this stuff. It really is inexcusable because think of the expense that goes into the design, the postage.
Tens of thousands of dollars, if not more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, 8th largest city. You know, this is a big mailing that went out, without a doubt.
That's a big oops. Talk about trying to attract the female voters. How is that working, and who are the candidates that seem to be most successful in doing that?
It seems like Nathan Fletcher and Bonnie DeMontis. Bonnie DeMontis basically having the strategy is, I should, you know, get that female vote for, you know, obvious reasons. Nathan Fletcher just yesterday unveiled 1,000 Women for Fletcher. They held a big press conference, had prominent women. Of course, the one leading it was his wife, who is a prominent woman in herself that's been very successful in her career. So they are absolutely... Again, I predict this is going to be such a close race, you can't leave any stone unturned. You see they're going after the women vote on issues, they're going after education, things that aren't traditionally in the mayor's office.
Yes.
Every vote counts.
What do you think is going to happen? Because a lot of times when we get up to the few days before the election, even maybe the week before, that's when you really see the gloves come off. Do you see that happening here, or do you see it pretty much playing out as it has so far?
I think as it has so far, for the simple reason gloves have already come off. It's about as nasty as it's going to get. You see a couple candidates that are really going for it. One thing that I think is going to be different from previous campaigns is normally as we get closer, it seems to break. Somebody kind of breaks out of the pack a little bit, even by a couple points. I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be very tight, and that's why it's getting so vicious right now that they go for those final votes.
There's also one other thing I wanted to talk about, the Assembly GOP leadership shakeup. What's happening?
Congratulations to one of our local Assembly member, Brian Jones. The Assembly leader, you know, put some people off the committee, brought some new people on, and one of them is our local East County, currently representing the 77th Assembly District, Brian Jones. So he's going to be Assistant Minority Leader, and that's good for San Diego.
That's good for San Diego.
It's great for San Diego.
Political analyst John Dadian, thank you so much for coming in today. We always do appreciate it. And things will continue to heat up as we get closer to some of these dates, so come back.
I call it the silly season.